Everyone. I am Neelakantha Bhanu, also known as the fastest human calculator in the world. You might have heard of me before. I have recently won the Olympic gold medal win at the Mind Sports Olympics in becoming the world's fastest human calculator. And I hold a few world records which were once held by people like Shakuntala Devi Garu, Scott Flansburgh, and multiple other math maestros. And in my journey of becoming the world's fastest human calculator, I've realized a bunch of things, which I think I will be putting forth in my discussion today. Math is more than a subject. The way I've experienced it since I was a child was the one which made it fun, was the one which made it a sport, an art, and things beyond. In today's session, and yeah, continuing with, I think a lot of people who are watching today would be people from schools, children, students who have invested tons of time into understanding what math is. But today I'm going to tell you what I've learned about what math is and what it means to me as an individual. I started off as a regular school-going kid back in 2005. I was born in 1999. I'm 21 myself. And I met with an accident when I was 5, which got me not go to school, bedridden for an entire year. And in this time, I picked up puzzles because I was playing a lot of sports, right? I mean, what sports do you play? Probably put it below. There are a bunch of sports which I used to play: badminton, cricket, football. And when I was 5, I met with an accident, and I just realized that me being back at home, I didn't know what to do. This was a serious head injury. The doctors thought I might be cognitively impaired and stuff, but I mean, nothing really happened there. So in this time was when I was asked if puzzles was something which I was interested in, because the closest thing to sports and what to do virtually or at home back then was that I could play sports or mental sports, or mind games, puzzles and stuff. So that's when I picked up puzzles, and that passion, which started back then, went on to make me the world's fastest human calculator by winning the regional championships, national championships, international championships, and so on, so on, so on. I currently hold 4 world records and 50 Limca records for being quicker than anyone else around, and I almost do calculations of around 12 numbers per second, which is 7 to 8 times, in fact, 10 times the speed of an average human being. Now you must think, Bhanu, what are your tricks? What are your shortcuts? What are your methods? So compiling these was my journey, which started off back then. And I started my journey into loving math, as you see behind me, is that arithmetic and calculations were the beginning, but math is much more. And if you would ask me, Bhanu, do you use shortcuts? Then I'd say, nah, not really. Because shortcuts don't mean anything. For instance, if I tell you an example of Mr. Usain Bolt, who's the fastest man alive. Let's say Usain Bolt runs for 100 meters in 9 seconds, right? Let us say that someone else called Peter also runs for 100 meters, or let's say goes for 100 meters in 2 seconds. Who's better? If Peter was using a car. Now imagine Usain Bolt is running for 100 meters quickly, and then Peter is just using a car to go for the 100 meters, a shortcut. Right? When you had to run from here to here, the shortcut is just, I mean, if you have to run from here to here like this, just going this way, shortcut. Does that make you better? Whom do you think is more celebrated? Who do you think should be more celebrated? Is it Usain Bolt or is it Peter who used a car for a shortcut? And I think almost all of you here would say it is Mr. Usain Bolt, because Usain Bolt is using his body, physical body, to run, right? So how did he do that? Years of training, perseverance, training his body, fitness, stamina, power, determination, all of these. Peter is just using a shortcut. So when you do a calculation, calculation is like running a race. You do math. That's what I've learned in my journey of becoming the world's fastest human calculator, is that the journey you take matters more than the time you took to get there. Which is why I would say that using tricks like abacus, Vedic math, or any other methods or methodologies which you've been taught, which you've been told, saying that this is how you do it, shortcut, trick, method, that does not help anyone. The reason is that it only lets you be quick there. Right? For instance, if I tell you something like, and I'm going to share my screen here when I do that, is that's a bunch of times a lot of people say 25 square, it's nothing but 25 into 25. How do you do it? Take 2, multiply with next number, right? With next number. So people say multiply with next number would be 2 into 3, which is 6. Then put the 25 next to it, right? Just any 25. For any number, it should be 25. Now, this is not important. We don't care about this. This is not important, okay? The reason why this is not important is because this, as you see, is a trick, okay? This is a trick. The same moment, if you were to do the calculation of 76 square, could you use the shortcut? The shortcut doesn't work anymore. You need to do it properly, which means that shortcuts are only ways of trying to feel that you're doing something, but it's not at all important. In fact, it is very bad to look at shortcuts and things as a way. So in my journey, moving ahead, I realized that there are a bunch of mathematical thoughts and conversation, which is very important. And back when I won my international speed arithmetic championship, I was representing India in the mental calculation World Cup, and I was a part of the global delegations. I was doing huge calculations, like say table of, if I have to say, someone used to ask me, I have a world record for the table, and if you see, I see a couple of numbers in here. The number 63, say, I had a world record session where I was supposed to add 63s to itself so quickly in 15 seconds that I can race past the speed of a calculator. So what should I do? 63 plus 63, 126 plus 63. Try it as you listen to me right now. Plus 63 plus 63 and so on. I was supposed to do this. And I went on and raced past the speed of a calculator by establishing a world record in this, called the fastest human calculator record. Let me tell you how. 63, 126, plus 63, 189. And I'm going to do that. 63, 126, 189, 252, 315, 378, 441, 504, 567, 636, 93, 756, 819, 882, 945, 107, 107, 113, 117, 1260, 1323, 138, 144, 151, 1575, 168, 1701, 1764, 1827, 1890, 1953, 2016, 2017, 2142, 2205, 2268, 2331, 2394, 2457, 2520, so on, so on, so on, so on. In front of you right now, I've recited the table of 63 all the way till 40 times and I've not memorized it. You might say, Bhanu, you might have memorized it. I can do starting from 18, adding 63s, which is no way I know that. 18 is another number. 18, 81, 144, 207, 273, 33, 396, 459, 522, 585, 648, 711, 774, 837, 900. What I'm essentially trying to convey here is that the way you train your brain has a good impact on how you learn math. And the way you learn math has a direct impact on how you code tomorrow. This is an event, Code Bharat, where we have a bunch of conversations going around which talk about understanding and being able to code, artificial intelligence, machine learning and stuff. But the only way we can do good in that is by actually understanding the true math essence behind it. How do humans think? For instance, when I do a calculation, what's happening in my brain, right? If I give you a small question, which is, I want all of you to look at the screen and ta-da, right? You've looked at the screen. Can you tell me what was the number you saw on the screen right now? Can you repeat it? Not really. Because, or if you can, that's fantastic. That's because our brain is not used to memory a lot. So if I ask you when you were born, you will say that very easily. It's out of my long-term memory. It's out of my memory. But what you saw right now, you don't really know. Even if I tell you, remember this number right now, right? Remember this number. Try to do 87, 63, 42, 21, 2187, 4263. I want you to remember this. I want you to add them. And now I'm going to take that off and I'm going to say, what was the number before? There is no way you remember this. It's because your brain works like a RAM, right? A bunch of it. You remember stuff otherwise. At the same time, you also have a random access memory where you remember stuff, forget it, remember, forget it. So at Exploring Infinities, if you see the firm which I head, and with my work, and I'm going to tell you how this was founded and stuff like that. So before I come here, which is that cognitive abilities was something which I was really interested in because I broke the world record of being the world's fastest human calculator. I could do calculations of 45 digits multiplied by 45 digits in my brain entirely, right? But then I was like, what is this significant for? What is this relevant in? That's when I founded Exploring Infinities after doing several experiments and teaching kids globally. And today, Exploring Infinities offers courses, classes, and impact across the globe in such big levels that I would say, are one of the only people out there who focus, and I'm going to move here since it's, yeah, who focus on understanding and making every child out there understand math in its truest format. Questions like, why do fractions exist? Why do numbers exist? Why do we count? Why do we add? Why do we subtract? What are all of these about? What is coding? What is recursion? What is linear regression? What does prediction mean? What is artificial intelligence? These are the questions which I, as an individual, set on to change. Collecting from my experiences in becoming the world's fastest human calculator, and at the same time, bringing all these learning together into experiential math learning modules. When I say experiential math learning modules, that's because of the bunch of stuff you see. There's this kid who's doing exceptionally good at math, who's being able to code, if you see right there, code, understand geometry, understand networks, physics, motion, science, and a bunch of other stuff, which includes and tells you about how much it's important to learn math. Math is the language of science, technology, and coding. And if there is anything which I've learned in my journey, it's that we don't stress enough on math. And I think I would take this opportunity on the day of Code Bharat's virtual conference, which is happening in front of you, conducted by RoboChamps. I would say that it's extremely important for all of you to understand that math is not only about numbers. It starts there. Calculations are a way to train your brain. Just like how today, when we learn about the English language, it's not about the grammar only. It's about what we can communicate today. It's about what we can talk about today. It's about how we can talk to each other about. And a bunch of stuff there. Just like language, math is a way you learn the world around you. If you ever see a kid who's put in the center of the room, put 10 chocolates here, 20 chocolates here, the kid will go to the 20 chocolates. Because the kid knows 20 is greater than 10. It's intuitional. But when we go on to build algorithms, when we want our kids and our generation, and even including you probably was looking at this and saying, I'm going to build the robots of tomorrow. I'm going to build the intelligence systems of tomorrow. I'm going to be a creator. You cannot avoid the math behind it. For instance, an artificially intelligent system, and I'm going to probably explain that in the next 15 minutes, which we will be having this conversation for. What it means and why is it mathematical? I'm going to give you a bunch of examples there. But from my journey, this is where we've combined and put in experiential math learning systems and Exploring Infinities. For people who are watching this, you'll get an email about all of the systems and things which we do, how this has direct relations with artificial intelligence and computer science and stuff. All I want to tell you guys is here that math is more relevant than what we think it is. And sometimes it's way more than what you can imagine. For instance, math and being able to do good math is like understanding its physical applications. See the guy here who understands what trigonometry is about. And in our journey at Exploring Infinities, we've seen that kids get 4 times quicker with just one course of 30 sessions, which means that we've been learning math so wrong all this time. 4 times quicker, better in cognitive abilities, extremely good thinkers, and all, most importantly, if you see here also, being able to train your muscle of the brain. When was the last time you've given it some exercise? Not a long time ago. And what I would want to tell you is that that is something which I want to change with this talk, which I'm having with you. Math, Brainchimp, and real coding. I would say math is the king and the utmost layer of any science which you can think of. And arithmetic, if you know what arithmetic is the calculation part of math. Arithmetic is the only way you train your brain. Just like how people say, doctors tell you, walking is the only way you can keep your heart fit, right? This is something which you hear everywhere you go. In a similar sense, the only way to train your brain is to do mental calculations, for which at Exploring Infinities, we believe that these games can be offered to every single one of you. So if you open up this website, expinfi.com/play, or even this website for that matter, you'll see a bunch of stuff around this. Cognitive abilities are stuff like memory, computation power, ability to parallel think, ability to multitask. And I'm going to show you all of this just in a moment, where I'm going to share my screen and do a bunch of calculations in front of you to make you understand the relation between math and brain. And immediately afterwards, I will go into talking about how this has anything to do with coding. Why am I here at Code Bharat to talk about this? Why do I believe that Exploring Infinities and what we do here has way more in relevance with Code Bharat than a bunch of other ways in which you start your journey there? I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm sure you see a small screen in front of you. What will happen in this screen, guys, is this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to flex the muscles of my brain, where I'm going to add the numbers which are going to come on the screen, right? And you can try them too. I'm going to make one setting. I want all of you to try. 3, 2, 1, and go. 96 plus 99 plus 81 plus 46. Uh-oh. Too quick. Let me make that a little easier and smaller. And I want all of you to try this. What is 95 plus 77 plus 25 plus 62? Do you know what that answer is? The answer is 259. But the reason why I want to tell you this is because if the same question was put in front of you like this, 67 plus 25 plus 36 plus 18, you would have done it so easily. You would have said 12, 18, 26, 2 here, 6 here, 8, 10, 13, 14. And you would have written the answer. Easy peasy. But you didn't do that. When it was going in front of you, it was so harder. And I'm going to show you what a trained brain, and in fact, something which we've seen at kids at Exploring Infinities do. 40, I'm going to make it quicker for me so that I can show you what a human brain is really capable of doing. Right? I have this in front of me. And I'm going to do a bunch of these calculations just to show you what this is all about. I'm going to add them. I'm going to speak it out loud. 46, 84, 149, 196, 251, 315, 346, 396, 461, 506. Right? I'm going to talk to you while I do my calculations. I'm talking to you, I'm doing it. 45, 84, 135, 155, 186, 214, 262, 290, 344. Right? This time I'm going to do it while I entirely talk to you. I'm talking to you, I'm doing these calculations on the back of my mind. This is because I've trained my brain through math. 543. Mathematicians and being able to do quick math is a boon. It's something which is a huge skill to build. And you might say, why do I need a calculator today? I have a calculator. I have a phone. I can do my calculations in this. I would say that we have cars also. If we have a car, do we stop walking? Not really. It's because walking is important because it keeps you fit. Just the same way, doing math is important because it keeps your brain fit. That's the reason why I would say math and Brainchimp is what we do at Exploring Infinities, building complicated mathematical structures all the way from fractions, decimals, and kids of the ages 6 to 10 and 11 to 17. And Exploring Infinities, we have two sets of groups, 6 to 10 and 11 to 17. And kids have done exceptionally well. In fact, if you see, bunch of our kids have become 4 times quicker at calculations and do exceptional coding and understand artificial intelligence and machine learning like nowhere I've seen. I personally am a computer science enthusiast myself. I have a bunch of algorithms which I've written. I worked and I've actually studied at IIIT Hyderabad. I give global conferences at UNESCO, UN, the Commonwealth, tons of startups, and I work with some of them too. And in every place I've seen that the amount of importance, if in math, is given a little more in the formative years of a student. If you're 6 to 10-year-old parent of a 6 to 10-year-old, go check Exploring Infinities out. If you're a parent of a kid of the age 11 to 17, go check Exploring Infinities out, because I believe that building coding skills only, and I'm going to say real coding, that's my title of the show, being able to do only direct code and not understand the true reason behind it of what things are and what things should be is extremely, I would say, minimalistic. It's like saying that I'm going to learn alphabet, but I'm not creative. How can I write a book? I cannot write a book with only alphabet, can I? So just learning Python, C++, coding, algos, whatever the companies which are out there which are telling you, not real coding, because of the fact that coding and a real coder, if you see here, which I have mentioned, in fact, let me actually change my virtual background here to illustrate who the real coder is. A real coder is someone who understands math excessively enough to be able to implement it using a language. Understood? That's something which we're doing with Exploring Infinities, and I think it's the need of the hour for kids, parents, institutions, and companies to understand that mere coding does not mean anything. It has to be backed with its true nature of what things are. Now, that being said, I would probably go on to continue in saying that in my journey of becoming the world's fastest human calculator, I've learned that it has helped me become a better coder, it's helped me become a better visualizer, makes me understand new things like anything. And that's why I would say that a strong, concrete mathematical learning is the stepping stone towards a STEM success. But a lot of times math is not relatable. Math is not fun. Math is boring. And that's why with Exploring Infinities, we have changed that. We have changed that for the good by making people and kids play games, bunch of games where people come together, compete, play, and I think that this is the way forward. The way forward from here is where kids understand what math is and do not ignore it anymore, that it is the fundamental requirement towards going anywhere. You might say that, okay, I can learn coding without doing math, or I can do that without doing this. My answer to that would be that you can do that, sure. It's like dragging and drop, website creation. People will tell you a bunch of stuff. But I believe that the moment you want to build a true system, which is extremely rigid, and I think any computer scientist out there who would agree with me, is that you have to understand formative logic. You have to understand what systems of numbers are. You have to understand how computations are. You need to understand truth tables. You need to understand recursion. You need to understand linear regression. You need to understand means. You need to understand algorithms. You need to understand how to write few of them, which is what we at Exploring Infinity strongly believe is important. We see here, Math Wizard is a course which we have for kids of the age 6 to 10. where the focus points are brain training and cognitive ability development, building arithmetic competence and student confidence, fun ways to learn higher concepts in math starting from basics, and experiential math learning modules. Kids have become 3 times quicker. We use a 30 session module to put it. We've seen that kids go all the way from there and apply it in coding, data science, AI, pure math. So the moral of the story is that math is beyond math. Math is a way you learn the world around you. Just like language, it's an essential. And Exploring Infinities, I would say every child out there is capable of exploring their infinite brain potential. When I say infinite brain potential, I'm talking about their ability to understand so many things which you can't imagine and becoming the masters and the front runners of tomorrow's coding giants of India. Whether you want to start up, whether you want to create more algorithms, whether you want to be a researcher, whether you want to be a business guy or an analyst, I would say that this is a fundamental you can't skip. Just like how I have to talk to you, I have to use English language. If you want to talk to the subjects and be a creator of tomorrow, you need your math. And that is why a bunch of other people out there, abacus companies, Vedic math companies, other math companies which say school syllabus and stuff, right? The problem with them is that they still look at math as a subject which you need to learn, not something which is empowering you, right? And that's why we're doing it with games, with math, promoting math as a sport, as an art, and multiple other things. I'm going to give you one example before we break today. And after I break, I sincerely request all of you to open the following and go through it, because it has a bunch of stuff which I would want all of you to look into. expinfi.com. If you're from India, click on /India, open it, search for it, go for it, or even go give a follow to fastest human calculator or inbox @expinfi on Instagram. I would say do this. Register for it, require, ask for a query, talk to our person. Because I believe that the way math is learned has to change. It has to revolutionize. After working with millions of kids and being the official math education partner to Government of India, running projects with Pratham, doing a bunch of stuff out there, I believe that the time has come to give it importance, to increase the numeracy of the country, because 3 out of every 4 students are scared of math. There is no way that we are excelling and becoming a nation which has rich computer scientists without tackling this as a problem. And I believe that we are doing that. With Vision Math Foundation, we do it in the government schools for free. With Exploring Infinities, we do it as a courseware which we believe is truly, and I've created them, Math Wizard and Turn on the Computer in You. In fact, I've just shown you Math Wizard. But if you can go through the website, you will see Turn on the Computer in You, which is another course which is designed for kids of the age 11 onwards. What I've shown you was for 6 to 10, but 11 years onwards, for kids who are in the later size of whatever they do, we have a bunch of things which start with experiential math learning beginner. Experiential math is when you learn with an experience. 30 sessions and stuff like that, which cover a ton of stuff, which you, if you see math and art and fun stuff like this, all of them are things which I personally made. And we've seen more than 4,000 kids have done this. They've become exceptionally well. They do coding. They have their own profiles. They ace it. And today, advanced mathematical experiential learning and specialization. After a kid does something for 50 sessions, they get a chance to go into coding, data science, business, understanding sciences with choice. And because everyone has their own pathway ahead. Everyone learns differently. Every child learns differently. And if I have to sum it up here, then at Exploring Infinities, we are trying to explore the true brain potential of people. And with Code Bharat, I would say Ganit Bharat is what I have been working for a while. And I think Code Bharat is a huge initiative, fantastic one, which has been headed, which talks about coding being the front runner, sure. But I would say that look at coding the right way. Do not fall in traps with companies which are going to tell you about, or people who are going to tell you about the fact that, hey, come on, let's learn coding now directly, without teaching you the true nature of it, without giving you an experience of it. A bunch of companies that do that, but a lot of them, which are even in this conference, who don't. And experience is important. With customized learning trajectories, with Exploring Infinities, we are doing it through math. Someone else is doing it something else. But I would say, give this a look. You'll get an email. And any questions which you have for me, you can go follow @fastesthumancalculator on Instagram or Bhanu Prakash on Facebook. Shoot a message. Or I would say, if you would want to talk about anything at all to anyone, you can just email to info@expinfi.com. Right? The reason is that we want to have that conversation with people where you understand what this is. And last but not the least, I would say, learn the real coding. Wherever you go, ask yourself, are you being just taught something because someone thinks that it's important? Does it really add value to your life? For all the kids out there, I'm going to give you a quick example towards math and artificial intelligence and coding together. One small example which I've thought I'll give you today before we sort of break is that imagine this is you, right? Imagine that this is a wall, okay? This is a wall. Imagine this is me, okay? Me, Bhanu. Bhanu is throwing tomatoes at you. Imagine Bhanu's throwing tomatoes. Not tomatoes, I'm throwing it at you. This is something which I call human intelligence, artificial intelligence. A small example. If I'm throwing this at you, the first tomato hits here, say. Okay? I'm going to write. Tomato 1 hits here. I'm going to zoom in. The second tomato I throw hits here, say. Tomato 2. The third tomato hits here. Okay? Tomato 3. The fourth hits here. Where does the fifth one hit? My question for all of you friends here who's watching this, where does the fifth one hit? What would you do? I see a bunch of people saying something, but you would duck, you would bend, right? Because the fifth tomato will hit you right in the face, right? Yes or no? The fifth tomato hits right in your face, yeah? Why? Because you know that this makes a pattern and the next one is here. How do you know? Because of human intelligence, yes or no? You're intelligent, you see the pattern. But if you want to teach this to a computer, if you want to write a code, if you want to tell them, what do you tell them? You say that the math behind this is simple. This is the coordinate axis, x-axis, y-axis. This is the coordinate. This is the coordinate. This is the coordinate. This is the coordinate. The next coordinate can fall anywhere in this, so bend. Now, this is artificial intelligence. Okay? The artificial intelligence just knows the coordinates, which let's say this is 1, 1, this is 2, 2, this is 3, 3, this is 4, 4. Then you have to duck from 5, 5. If you guys don't know what that is, 5, 5 just means that it's 5 from here and 5 from here, the distance. Now, artificial intelligence, and what you see, this line is called linear regression. One of the fundamental things which they teach you in coding and don't tell you why it works the way it works. And we at Exploring Infinities believe that this is a good premise for you to understand why math is very important to coding and why it's important to be and make machines intelligent. All right. That being said, I want all of you to visit expinfi.com, look into it, look through the emailer, go through the courses of Turn On the Computer and You're in Math Wizard. Look at what they offer in terms of specializing and understanding math the true way. Because abstracting yourself after a certain point is impossible. And try to live in a point where you understand that you take a subject which you understand math, not as only as a subject, but as a sport, as an art, and as a way to develop and brain gym, right? I'm going to get back to the other cute virtual background which I had, which told you, understand math and physically relate to it. Become 4 times quicker, get better ideas, and understand cognitive development and train your brain. Last but not the least, become the coders of tomorrow. That's what Code Bharat is about. That's what Ganit Bharat is about. And I would thank all of you guys for inviting me on here. I am Neelakantha Bhanu, the world's fastest human calculator, and this is the way I am impacting the world in changing the way they look at math, learning it, and in turn, making them extensively good in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Go for Exploring Infinities, look at it. And last but not the least, congratulations to the Ganit Bharat team for putting this together in the time of the pandemic. For any details, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to info@expinfi.com, and you will be humbly surprised by the amount of huge nature of the immersiveness of math in the world of codes, in the world of coding, in the world of prediction. How does Netflix give you what movie you like? How does Spotify tell you what song you want to listen? How does Alexa talk to you? How are things being built? And the math behind it. That's what we stand for. Go check it out. I'm Neelakantha Bhanu, and I've had fun talking to you guys. And until then,